Yasir Qadhi wants to change the face of Dawah by literally building a Muslim city from scratch. He's calling it Epic City, named after the Epic Masjid, the East Plano Islamic Center, which is proposed to become an Islamic faith-based community, complete with 1,000 homes, retail spaces, clinics, a community college, mosque, Islamic school, and even an assisted living home for elderly Muslims. In short, he's creating an Islamic bubble, a 24/7 Allah and Muhammad echo chamber. He's bringing a little piece of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and Yemen into the heart of America, in Texas, of all places, 402 acres of land, 40 minutes outside of Dallas. However, these plans actually got attention from the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who publicly made a response about this. The backlash has been immense. Yasir Qadhi says that they're not seeking to become isolationists, but it doesn't appear that way. If you're creating an entire community on 400 plus acres of untouched land, where everything you need to be a community exists only there, then how is this not cult-like? How is this any different than what David Koresh did with his cult? Today, I'm going to go over Yasir Qadhi's plans and Greg Abbott's pushback. The governor is not taking this lightly. Let's get into it. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is coming for Yasir Qadhi and his epic city plans. He has recently threatened to use the full weight of the law if the plans to construct the city are not stopped.
Governor Greg Abbott directed Texas Rangers to open a criminal investigation into the group behind a Muslim-centric housing development in Collin County.
The governor said a proposed housing development referred to as Epic 2 potentially violates Texas criminal law.
The land itself has not been touched yet and there's no construction happening to date, but they've already collected a bunch of money. In this tweet, Abbott says, to be clear, Sharia law is not allowed in Texas, nor are no-go zones, which the project seems to imply. Bottom line, the project as proposed in the video is not allowed in Texas. One may think that this is overkill. Maybe Yasir Qadhi doesn't want to create a Sharia-only city, but he only seems to provide vague language about what it means to be a resident of Epic City. Not to mention what Yasir Qadhi thinks will happen and what will ultimately happen over time as the Muslim population grows in this dense locality are two totally different things. We have to stop the rot before it begins and avoid the creation of religious ethno-cities. Now, I'm going to show you some Islamists lying about what Sharia law entails. I hate to use the word taqiyya, the T word, but there's Islamists who are basically misrepresenting Sharia law online, like this guy Shibli Zaman. He said in a reply to Greg, I follow Sharia law every day when I wash up before prayer, when I pray 5 times a day, when I fast 30 days in Ramadan, etc. What are you going to do about that, you hapless dolt? The fact that you think you can outlaw Sharia shows how uneducated you are. I thought this was funny. My reply was, nobody cares about your washing before praying, Shibli. What they care about is when it impacts others. Mothers, for example, don't get custody post-divorce. Men can unilaterally divorce. Inheritance laws are unfair. Gender segregation, and etc. I could go on. Shibli balked me right after this. He doesn't want to be challenged by someone that can see through their lies, I guess. Another individual, Johnny UTD, whatever that means, wrote, Sharia law is for Muslims and Muslims only. The fear-mongering from far-right groups is wild. Just talk to Muslims and they'll tell you themselves, crying emojis. Lies again. Sharia law does encompass praying and fasting, but it affects treatment of non-Muslims, kafirs, dhimmis, munafiqeen, etc. Not to mention that applies to Muslims, especially women, that suffer under Islamic law too. That's why they're living in America and not in Lebanon or Saudi Arabia or Pakistan or whatever. And like one of the replies said, until you become the majority, then you impose it on everyone, which is also true. Until Muslims are willing to openly condemn Sharia law, not the praying and fasting parts obviously, like the straw man above by Shibli, but until they condemn it as barbaric and outdated or needing reform, we're always going to have to worry about them wanting to bring it back. Then we have those who are openly admitting to this. The Muslim cowboy, one of the most deranged Muslims out there, is bragging about being able to force Sharia laws on others. He starts with a nice sounding tweet. Greg, as a Texan and a Muslim, I will disobey your state law every day by practicing Sharia law, and I don't give a rat's ass what you think. Did you know Sharia law means being kind to parents? It includes prayer, fasting, all aspects of life. I dare you to stop us. But then within a few minutes shows his true colors and says, I can't wait to force it on you one day. Quick pause here. I'm not saying we can't trust Muslims or all Muslims want Sharia, but I'm saying we can't trust Sharia law to be harmless like the above tweets are implying. Some are more honest about it than others, and other Muslims are just deluded about Sharia law truly entails. Before I continue, subscribe to the channel if you're new here and give a thumbs up to boost the channel. Together we can keep Sharia law away. Okay, what about gated Catholic or Amish communities? Public scrutiny applies to them too, but they aren't trying to build entire cities based on religious law. But Yasir Qadhi says it's open to all. Yasir Qadhi is saying they're not trying to impose religion on anyone, and they're adhering to the Fair Housing Act, which does not allow discrimination based on religion. However, the interesting part of this statement is the fact that when Epic City opened up applications for future housing, they sold a massive amount of houses immediately. All sold out. Now, if it's truly open to all, how did it sell out so fast when all the schools and religious centers are for Muslims? We know who it's sold out to.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, I'm sure many of you have heard of the amazing project that we're doing known as Epic Cities. We are, alhamdulillah, constructing an entire city half an hour from downtown Dallas, literally 30 minutes from our own Plano Masjid over here. It's going to be a city of over 1,000 people. Alhamdulillah, we launched this website last year and we sold the entire phase 1 within days. Because of the demand, we are now opening up Epic Ranches.
What other group of people would be desperate to live there and put a down payment on a home other than Muslims? How would non-Muslims even know that something like this exists, especially if they have no affiliation with the Muslim community? What Yasir Qadhi is saying doesn't add up. Obviously, preference is going to be given to Muslims. Yasir Qadhi even says that prospective buyers are basically going to be given individualized assessments to make sure that they are aligned with the goals and safety of the community. In what world do you seek to buy a house and you're given an assessment to make sure that this house you intend on conducting your private life in is aligned with the builder's goals and safety? Now we have these things like HOA, which impose restrictions on things like whether or not you can build a fence, install a pool, etc. But what goals and safety is he talking about here? He's talking about the goal of creating an Islamic bubble, and the safety means that no outsiders are allowed. Listen to this clip where he briefly describes the prospective buyers and inheritors of these properties.
Brothers and sisters, this is a limited time opportunity. It is an amazing time to invest for the future, not only in yourselves, but of your children after you. We are, inshallah ta'ala, going to change the entire da'wah scene by demonstrating to the world what it means to be a Muslim living in the West.
Here we go. He said it right there. Did you hear that? He's telling Muslims that they'll secure a home for not only themselves, but their future children as well, which means that these homes will continue to be passed down through generations of Muslims, never being sold to outsiders. It'll become a Muslim-only area. Yasir Qadhi can say that they won't discriminate, but we know who is going to get preferential treatment. You're not going to build an entire Islamic community for people that don't share the same religion or values. Also, let's look at this payment plan. With the example on the website, with a lot price of $240,000, you have to make a down payment of $48,000. So there's some people who can make down payments like this for a home. That's not something outside the realm of possibility. But here's where we get some little bit Sharia-like. The website doesn't talk about any financing in the form of a loan, since riba is forbidden. Instead, you have to pay $48,000 every 6 months for 2 years, $8,000 a month. Most people don't have the ability to pay off their home in 2 years. Many of the households will be multi-generational Muslims, and to do something crazy like paying $192,000 towards a home over 2 years is absolutely nuts. And then there's other lots from $250,000 to $450,000 that would be even harder to finance. I wonder what they'll do if they find out that Muslims are using haram mortgages to buy this land. Would they say anything? The illusion of integration. The events that are happening down in Plano, Texas is something to be questioned and investigated. Yasir Qadhi has said that Epic City seeks to be an example of what it is to be an integrated Islamic community in America. But is it integrated? How can you be integrated if your entire life sits on 402 acres of isolated land, where you are surrounded by only Muslims and an Islamic life? A well-integrated community would be exactly that, a community that is two parts of something that create a unified whole. Yasir Qadhi says, we have to dispel this notion that this is an exclusive community. It is open for all, and anyone who is interested is more than welcome to apply, he said. Obviously, we understand it's going to have a greater appeal to those of a certain background, he said. If certain people want to live in a community where there's a faith-based mosque or temple or synagogue that's walking distance, why should they not be allowed that freedom? I have nothing against Muslims existing in society, but I do have issues with creating religious ghettos, entire cities of Muslims where only Muslims live. We do have densely Muslim populated areas like Dearborn, Michigan, but the city is not isolated from the rest of the world. This isn't what the West is about. We don't want this here. We already have a multicultural society where everyone's welcome, yada yada. What they're building is the opposite of that. They are welcome to apply, and that's about it. It's easy to say things like anyone who wants to live in a faith-based community can, but let's be real here. Even people who belong to a different faith will have different lifestyle and ideas about what's socially acceptable. What happens if a resident leaves Islam, gets caught with wine, wears shorts by the pool, or a bathing suit? Are they going to criminalize having alcohol in the community? Would they get kicked out? You can't impose religious laws like this on other people in America. In the blueprint of Epic City, you can see beautiful in-ground pools. Are they going to ban Christian buyers from wearing a bathing suit in their backyards? Would Christians or Hindus even feel comfortable buying in this area? To say that anyone is welcome just doesn't add up. At the end of the day, he's right. A greater appeal will be to people from a certain background, Muslim background, of course. If this truly was a community for everyone, why does every single plan for the city center around creating an Islamic society? If that's what they want, why are they living in America? In conclusion, if this isn't a Sharia enclave in the making, then what exactly is it? We don't want religious compounds here, not from David Quresh, not from Yasir Qadhi. Also, check out a video on a Texas whistleblower who exposed abuse inside a Texas mosque and got punished for it. It's a chilling example of what happens when these bubbles are left unchecked. People get abused, abusers shipped away to Pakistan, and the ones calling the alarm get shunned and booted from the community. You gotta watch this video as it gives yet another reason why we can't allow this. Thanks for watching. If you want to help the channel, you know what to do. If you want to support the channel even more, check out our Patreon below. It's most appreciated. And thank you to our patrons for your continued love and support. This is your friendly ex-Muslim Abdullah Samir signing out.